Okay, folks, I have really been following this story this morning, and even though this all is something that has transpired over the last several years, I think most of us missed this, and it certainly wasn't in the mainstream news. But it seems that there was a lawsuit by Walmart against Visa. Listen to this. Walmart sues Visa over chip debit card rules. Listen to this. This was back in 2011. Walmart is suing Visa because it wants to require customers using new debit cards to enter a PIN when making a purchase. Now listen. Listen to this. The retailer charges in the suit that Visa's policy to allow people to enter signatures at the register leads to more fraud. It also argues that the strategy is a bid by the payment processor to grab higher fees on debit purchases. Sounds like they're a little conflicted on that, isn't it? Are they really concerned about fraud as much as they're concerned about the higher fees for the debit transactions? Now do you see why Walmart is no longer requiring a PIN number up to $50? Because it's costing them a lot of money. Well, they're putting you and I at risk. See, they don't care about us. In the store, payments that are authorized via signature are routed across Visa's debit network and generate higher fees for credit card company. Walmart argues that its data shows that 91% of the fraudulent debit card purchases are done with signatures. PIN verification is much more secure than signature verification, said the lawsuit filed in New York State Court. It also enables Walmart to route transactions across PIN debit networks rather than signature debit networks, which saves Walmart money. Are you listening? But even more so, folks, if they were fighting to be able to have, to require their customers to use debit cards and not use credit cards back then in 2011, now they don't even require a PIN number, up to $50. Visa did not respond to a request for comment. Walmart's suit also says that debit cards account for 70% of all card purchases at the store. While it wants to require PINs for debit purchases, it does not require a PIN for a credit card transaction. So, you see, this is a long, dragged out thing that's been going on for some time now, and it's all about money. The bottom line is about money. Walmart saving money. Walmart's suit says many of those countries now require both chips and PIN codes to make a card purchase. Its executives have been very critical of the way the U.S. has opted the new technology because it still allows signature purchases. Mike Cook, of Walmart's assistant treasurer and senior vice president, said last year that using the chips without the PINs is such a joke. Now, what he's referring to is that in other countries like Europe, they're using the PIN. And here in the United States, they're going more and more away from the PIN. Listen to this. It makes sense for Walmart to fight for the greatest possible use of PIN codes, said Jeremy Gumbley of the Credit Call, which helps merchants upgrade their credit card systems. He said allowing signatures does little to protect the consumer from would-be thieves using lost or stolen cards, while at the same time raising costs for the retailer. So this is a big fight that's going on between the retailer and the banks, and you and I are caught in the middle. That's what this is all about, people. For a retailer the size of Walmart, this could cost it dearly. And all the while, its consumers receive only part of the protection chip cards can offer. Not exactly a win-win for either party, he said. Do you see what's going on here, people? It's not about making you more secure. It's about the bottom line of saving Walmart money. That's what this is about. And it's sad, but it's true. So Walmart is now not requiring a PIN up to $50. This is a big difference from what they were saying back in 2011 when they said that the reason why they were requiring a PIN and wanted all their customers to use a PIN was because of fraud. Well, how come they've changed their view on that now? Why are they changing their mind? So every transaction I did today with my personal debit card on my breaks and lunch asked me if I wanted cash back, and I hit no cash back. Then the transaction continued to process without asking me for my PIN number, as though I had changed the payment type or credit. The third time it happened, I made a video with my phone to make sure I wasn't going nuts. The bottom of the receipt says EFT or debit, so it's seeing it as a debit card. It's kind of unnerving to me that the POS can bypass PIN verification and still call it a debit. This was a person that had left a message for Walmart. Also tried regular check stands too, and the same thing happened, although the cashier, who normally works sporting goods, told me it had happened a few times already to others. Has this happened anywhere else? So folks, this is happening more and more, and then obviously this person comes up saying, someone told me that the readers would stop asking for a PIN if a transaction total was under $50, which I already mentioned to you folks. That was at the service desk, so I thought that they were talking about that, but I suppose that applied to all registers. So this was a new thing that took place at Walmart, a big fight that was going on between them and the credit card processors. It makes you wonder why, if there's a PIN required, why the banks and the processors would require more money, or at least the processor would require more money for a PIN transaction versus a debit card signature transaction. I'm going to tell you, this whole thing is nothing but moving towards a cashless society. That's what it's all about. They want you and I more and more every day to feel more unsafe, so that we're willing to choose a system that's supposed to supposedly make us safer. So you can go on the internet and look it up yourself, but there's all kinds of information out there about the lawsuit and the fight that's going on between Walmart and these credit card companies. And I think, as far as I know, it's still in court. They still haven't settled anything as far as that goes. Even in 2016, the lawsuit goes on. Walmart is still suing Visa to allow consumers, so it's still going on since 2011. So how do we protect ourselves, brothers and sisters? How in the world do we protect ourselves? If the world is just going along blindly, listening to, being told what to do as blind sheep, how do we protect ourselves? Well, I told you in the last message, I think the best way we can is to just, if we know we're going to be going to do some grocery shopping, we need $100, whatever, $200, whatever you use for groceries, just put it on a temporary debit card. That way, if someone does get a hold of your card, then they're not going to get all the money you have in your checking account. Because right now, I'm going to tell you, they have direct access to your checking account. Only up to $50, they say. Another real quick thing, though, I noticed that like Costco is doing now, and a lot of gas stations are now doing. They're debiting from your account and holding on to like $100 to $200 for a $50 purchase or a $20 purchase of gas. So what can you and I do to protect ourselves? What can we do because the world's becoming more unsafe? There are things we can do. And so You might think about using a temporary debit card and just keeping a balance on there. I don't know. I don't know how to. Maybe you guys have some ideas. But I think eventually we're going away from debit cards, credit cards, chips, as far as inside cards, and we're going eventually to what is going on right now with Amazon stores. I think that's what everything is going to. So don't forget to leave your comments.